Hey, hi everybody. Welcome to the Well of Creativity and Wisdom for Tree Sisters. Today we are having a call called Seeds of Inspiration with the beautiful and wondrous Sara Steffey McQueen. And I'm going to introduce you to her in a minute, but first I'd just like to tell you a little bit about her. So Sara is a tree planting sister. She's a treasured Heartwood volunteer for about 3 years now, I believe. She's a water carrier, and she's also a retired art teacher, a sufi, a yogini, painter, and wild woman who lives in an intentional community that her and her husband started in Bloomington, Indiana, almost 40 years ago. So we are incredibly happy to have you with us today, Sara. How are you, honey?
I'm so happy to be sitting with my dear friend Kathleen. And love to get to come into the well with these stunning creatives. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, there's a lot of lovely artists and creatives in general, musicians, singers. It's just so rich in here. Thank you for being part of it and being one of the original people in the well who added the water. Mm-hmm. So let's see, where should we start? Well, let's talk about being a tree sister first. Like, what does it mean to you, Sara, all these years? I think, how long have you been a tree sister, first of all?
Well, my 2015 is when I have a journal from when Mary did the landscape class. I think 2015.
Yeah, so at least 3-4 years. Yeah. It flies by. So what does that being a tree sister mean to you? And how, at the same time, if you just talk about how that connects to your creativity.
Yeah, thank you. Well, my story goes to graduating college in 1972. And for me, it was like, oh, I could do whatever I want now. I can study whatever I want. I can be whoever I want. And I wanted to be with nature. I don't know exactly where it came from. My father used to take us picking flowers, but I ended up wanting to live with people and in nature. And that brought me to my husband, who I called us tree people. He was an arborist, and he worked in the national forest, and we took some pine trees down and built a teepee without having seen one. And so trees have been actually a really important part of my life ever since a child. I got a grant that was called My Search for Celtic Roots, and it was all about trees, climbing the trees and planting the trees. So when I found Tree Sisters, it was like they found me, it was like, oh my goodness, this is so wonderful, and it's so inspiring, the fact that one woman in a car accident, was inspired to do this project. And now, having participated for these years, it fulfills every part of my being, because I'm such a sharer, and Tree Sisters goes all around the world, and it just gives me amazing feeling of my roots going all the way through the earth, all the way around the earth, the planting trees, the women we meet, the circles we belong to. It's my life. It's really my life. Yeah.
Yeah, anyone who knows you knows that, and like you said, that you didn't find Tree Sisters. Tree Sisters found you. You have been you're the original tree sister in my mind, and I mean, it's wonderful. I mentioned about your intentional community, but if you could just share a little bit about like how it's 40 years now, but in the beginning, and you started this intentional community, which I know a lot of people are thinking about, to kind of live the way that they want to create in the world, make their own decisions, right? To be closer to nature and to live closer to each other, right?
Yeah. Well, the first word is trust. Just trust. It was just in my heart. I don't know if it was many past lives. I feel like it had to be, because I never went camping as a child. And, here I just say I want to live close to nature. And then I just, found some people that, I fell in love with my husband, and I was like, I want to live with people. I don't just want to, find a sweet little home and happy hubby and have my little world. I need to be connected. And he was like, we do it. We just do it. And that's been our life, a deep trust of the universe, of safety, actually, that we will be cared for. And so that was 1973. We just started, got an apartment, and everybody had their little room. And I call it common sense and courtesy. We just took turns taking care of what needed to be taken care of and enjoyed each other's company. And then from that, we had a fire and came back to where I went to college in southern Indiana. And just life unfolds when, there's that smoothness. I know none of us like it when we feel like we're pushing or struggling, and sometimes we do have to do hard work, but sometimes things just fall into place. And that's what happened in my life, where this was some dream that I must have been born with. And, I just met some folks who had land in the country and wanted to live with people, and I had the people that wanted to live in the country. And we said, let's garden and see if we, like each other. And we started a garden, and the next thing you know, we're sleeping in pup tents, sharing a little tiny house with no running water and no electricity, and bathing in a spring, and, just living, it was the hippie era. And, for my young friends, it was a special time. It really was a zeitgeist, of beginnings. And so we did that for a period of time until, we were like, well, we want to buy land, but how will we ever buy land? We don't have any money. And we just started having land buyers meetings and said, who wants to buy land? And, slowly groups formed. Some people needed it vegetarian, some people needed a religion, and I was just waiting. I knew I was there, waiting for the people. And so we bought this land, and it had nothing. It had been logged, so it had a logging road, and literally we put plastic between some trees, and built our teepees, and we ate feta cheese and rice and we were like 20 some years old, and our parents thought we were crazy. Nobody thought it would ever make it. And that was 76. And then I got pregnant for my son, and it was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to have a baby in December in a teepee. And so we had a little kitchen that we all ate together in a little wooden shack, literally. And, everybody said, well, let's build a community building. And we just started the community building. And in 80, that burnt down, and we had no insurance. And so, we've just developed, and it's been really organic. I tell people it was before the books were written. And so we have found our way as we went. And, it's a real thing in the sense that it's life. So, it's not all 100% heavenly bliss. We've had some conflict. We've had some people that, weren't happy. But honestly, it's where friends became family. And so now we're on our third generation. My son has 2 children, and it's a success story no matter what happens. I mean, I could start crying because it's not what I visioned. It's not what I thought. I thought we'd be self-sufficient. I thought we'd have industry here, and and we all had to go to town and get jobs, and kind of got lost in the 80s and 90s a little bit, with creature comforts after I got out of the teepee. Right. I got a little away from things, and now we're retired, and we're able to kind of come back to where we started, and now we're simplifying and I just encourage people, don't wait for the right people, don't wait for the right place. If it's in your heart, you just start doing it.
You just start doing it, and you'll be guided. You'll be
the details. There's lots of details. You don't have to.
Yeah, and we can't predict them all, and all that. But
Yeah.
it seems like it's come full circle for you to now where you're retired and being able to do that again. That's so the guidance is more universal. It's more from the divine, really. And I think that what comes to me so strongly is the creativity involved in what you were doing. I know you were painting and writing and doing all these other things, but creating a village, that kind of creative power is really what we need in the world right now. And I do hope that a lot of young people are successful in what they're doing, because I know a lot of them are trying to do that right now, and they're following in your footsteps. And I think I was going to say, when does your book come out about it? Because there's some definite pearls of wisdom I'm sure you have to share that aren't in any of the books right now or anything, because you actually did it from scratch without any. So there's probably a lot of things. And then just the whole idea that you've come full circle for me is such a beautiful thing to present. Like, even if you do get distracted, that you still ended up coming back and having that place to come back to. And and I can't wait to come visit you. So we've been talking about that for a while.
Well, I need you. I need you to hold my hand for my Wild As You Want women's retreat. So
yes.
I look forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that. We definitely will do that. I know that it's the intention. It's when you set the intention. And I think that I just got that. That's like the intentional community is also just setting the intention for it. And then the universe kind of got your back, and you learn and you grow and you stumble and you fall and you learn and you grow and you get there eventually. And I'm sure a lot of people would love to come visit you and to come to the retreat with us. They've seen all your pictures put on and the beautiful things that you do in your river. And, oh my gosh, just beyond words, really beyond words. So I'm excited to be able to share that with you soon, someday. So let's get to your artwork. As if creating an entire village is not enough. I'm going to share my screen, and let's see how we do this perfectly. And then I bring this up. There you go. Can you see it?
I do.
Okay, so here is Sara's work, and I want you to sort of, just to do the background, talk about it as I move the pictures along.
Alrighty. Well, this is one pane of my beautiful north-facing studio. It's I think it's 16 panes, two big windows that face north, and this is just a little, an earth altar, and I had done a Mary Magdalene weekend, and that's a beautiful goddess rock that someone gifted me there of the goddess, and there's my woods back there. So this is, I think I might have even dusted for this photo.
I love it.
My world is little altars everywhere. I know that a lot of us know that one. So this is looking to the back. My husband built my studio for me. It was going to be a 3-car garage, and we decided just stop where we were at. So this is looking, actually that corner is facing east, and you're looking at 2 tables really. So the table you mostly see, that's my acrylics table, my art of allowing acrylics. I'm calling them mythological now because they all tell such a story. And then behind that is my collage table, where I just enjoy just cutting and pasting. And there's actually a shield up there from a shield making with Amelie, an Iroquois woman. And my world is just very full, being, I'm going to turn 68. So I still love all my things. I haven't been able to declutter yet because it's my safety, I think.
No, I think I don't feel it as clutter. It's so intriguing to me. I just want to get in and look and touch everything.
Yeah, the basket right there front by the salt That's from the Aboriginal ladies in Australia. They make those baskets. I was able to go to Australia 3 times, and that's a treasure of memories for me. And so they would dig with the stick and put their eggs, you know, then they would find turtle eggs and such and put them in those little dilly bags.
Dilly bags?
I think so. I forget the formal name.
And what is this wooden box down here?
Yeah, that's from Africa, and it's actually there's a trader in town that works with a lot of collecting, and he sells things. And the thing that I like about him is he'll tell you if it's a tourist thing or if it's an older piece, you know, and give you the story of it. And that's a tourist box. It's got a sword there, so I keep my pencils and erasers in there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. I love your studio.
Thank you. I love it. Yeah. That's my eye. Can you see my eye?
Yeah, it's so you. Yeah.
That was just a sketch. I was doing a class with Flora recently, and I needed to warm up. When I come into my studio, I either do mandalas, or I'll look in the mirror and just draw to kind of get. And that was on top of another page that was all scribbled, and I enjoyed the looseness of just playing and no worry, you know, about I'm making something.
Right. That's just the freedom, and you just captured your fun and your wisdom all in one.
I was happy to see that little sparkle in the eye.
Yeah, I do. I feel it. So cute.
Yeah, and then this is a piece I call Sovereign, and I just had cards made of that. One of the women in some of my many beautiful circles was feeling this raven energy and really drawn to that big black bird behind me. So I didn't have any cards of this. This is an acrylic, and it's probably about 24 by 36, something like that. And it just anybody who knows the art of allowing or Flora Obey's work, it's like you don't know what you're going to paint when you get started, and you just allow intuition to come in, and that's what ended up happening. And then I used myself. People always say it does remind them of me, because I wanted it to be a mature woman. I didn't want her to be just.
I love that.
Generic young beautiful girl. So
right, I love that.
Yes,
it's an older beautiful girl.
Oh yes, and then I pulled this down. I mean, I've been working for 50 years. So
right.
This was in the 80s. I was getting a master's in art. It was called a Master of Arts for Teacher, and we got studios over at the university. And you know how we have all these things we put around visually to inspire us, and this stuff was just kind of all on the wall. And toward the bottom there is a rubbing. My husband was cutting some trees. You know, we take the dead trees and we burn wood. And I loved that it was a hollow beech with a double spiral, big open beech. And he's such a sweetheart. He cut me a slice of it and brought it so that I could enjoy it. So it became a source of inspiration. I used it actually for a lot of pieces. I did a Buddhist piece with that on there, and then those images up on the upper left, these are drawings from like a Tree of Life book, you know, the metaphor. And then in the middle is a little postcard image that's actually an herbal chant of a shaman's drum.
Ooh.
So they're just images, and then there's some handmade papers I made, and it just told it was like my universe.
Right.
I called it. Excuse me. I titled it "For All the Indigenous Gone."
Oh wow! Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like a piece of like a story of art history that I feel like I'm looking at, and I could just listen to you explain pieces of it and how it all comes together. It's really fascinating. I really love your style and your work.
I got into collage in college in the 70s. Robert Rauschenberg was really, popular, and So I love collage. I love combining it. This is a piece I just received back, and I'm sorry it's, not that good of a shot, but a friend of mine just passed away in this last season, a beautiful woman who was an amazing artist and a powerful creatrix. And she suffered with severe physical disability, arthritis, and just horrible, horrible effects of the drugs that she took. And anyway, she bought this piece. I had a show, and this is a piece of a study of the Kabbalah. And I was trying to make sense of it for myself, Tree of Life. And anyway, she bought it, and then when she passed away, her husband gave it back to me. So I just received it back. It was called Kabbalah Study.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and my heart goes out to you on your loss. And
yeah. But her body was so pained. Her hands were so curled and her body was so curled. And she would go to her studio, Kathleen, every day, just stick that brush in her hand and just create. She was an angel. Yeah.
Ah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, really beautiful.
Yeah.
I know that art can be so healing. And even when we're sick, I've experienced it myself. And, that you can be pain-free when you're creating, and it may not cure you, but at least it gives your time more joy, brings more joy to your time. And I just I feel like if anybody can just get back to coloring a page or whatever it is, it's so healing and helpful. Well, I'm just infatuated by all of these pieces, and we could go on forever about them. But I want to talk about, in the last few minutes, just what is, being a tree sister, a water carrier for Tree Sister. And so just to explain a little bit for those who don't know, that's where Tree Sisters are offering a percentage of what they sell or do or create in the world to return to plant trees. So it's really create the seed. That's why I'm calling these talks the seeds of inspiration, because it seems like that is what is bringing us into our creativity. It's sort of like that cycle that we just talked about. So the closer you get to how you really care for the earth, the more inspired you become. And then it just gives this circle back then to planting the trees. So I'll give you the website for Sara, and I'll also put it in the post, but it's Sara Steffey McQueen.com. So it's her name, and it's all about her. And can you just tell everyone what it is that you are creating that can give back as a water carrier?
Yes, thank you. Well, I don't know about the other artists, but our sales as a visual artist, especially a two-dimensional artist, are real sporadic. And so I started out being so happy to be a water carrier, but then it was like, well, which pieces, which shows, so what I actually just recently did was just went ahead and made a monthly donation that comes out every month. And it makes me feel like, yay, I'm giving every month, even if I don't sell something that month. And, I'm fortunate I'm not rich, but I'm fortunate to have enough that I could do that, and rather than wait for things to sell. So I find it really freeing. I just made a monthly donation that comes out every month, and it makes me feel like I'm always giving. So, I'm getting ready to do a show. So I'll have cards printed up for Tree Sisters. And, I don't know, Kathleen, I'm sure you're the same way. Most of the Tree Sisters, anybody we meet. Philanthropic passion. I call it my philanthropic passion, that we just have to talk about it because it's so meaningful. Not just the planting trees, but the feminine leadership and the community. So that's how I do it. And it really works for me. I'm feeling good about that.
Yeah, I hear that. It's beautiful that you can have this consistency to it. And I think it feeds you. What I've been seeing from you is, you're just continuing to grow, and you're doing a show, you're working in that gallery now, and all these new things, which I'm sure you talk about on your website, right?
Yeah.
Great. Great.
Also, my Facebook page too is the same as my name /artist. My website's got some kinks to it. It's made by a local person, kind of needs freshening up, but I've got it there. I've got it divided. You can see my landscapes, my spiritual pieces, you know, my collages. So I've kind of separated them out. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so happy. Like, I feel so proud to share you with everyone. And I'm just so thank you so much for taking the time and
We did it.
just, yeah, and being this beautiful woman that you are in this world in every way, you know, and that's everybody getting to know Sara now, and I hope that everybody just checks out all of her posts and things, because one of the most inspirational women that I know.
Aw, thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Keep drawing.
Keep going, everyone.
All right,
Keep
bye-bye.
creating. Bye.